Anthroposophy's view on the cosmic evolution of consciousness. Rudolf Steiner's grand perspective. Ever wondered how human consciousness evolves according to Rudolf Steiner's spiritual science, and why it seems to be developing so rapidly? Or why ancient people experienced reality so differently than we do today? These aren't random changes, but part of a vast cosmic process. I've spent years studying Rudolf Steiner's remarkable insights into the evolution of consciousness through anthroposophy. What I've discovered about spiritual science consciousness development has completely transformed my understanding of human history and potential. Beyond Darwin, Rudolf Steiner evolution of consciousness, not just bodies. We're familiar with biological evolution, how physical forms develop over time. But Steiner revealed something more profound. Consciousness itself evolves. This isn't just about getting smarter or more knowledgeable. It's about fundamental shifts in how humans perceive, think, and experience reality. Ancient peoples didn't just have different beliefs, they literally experienced the world differently than we do. And future humans will experience reality in ways we can barely imagine. This evolution isn't random, but follows a meaningful pattern that Steiner mapped in extraordinary detail. The cosmic time frame. Spiritual science evolution through planetary stages. Steiner described a vast cosmic time frame for evolution that dwarfs conventional scientific timelines. According to his spiritual research, our Earth and humanity have evolved through previous planetary stages: Old Saturn, Old Sun, Old Moon, Earth current, future Jupiter, future Venus, future Vulcan. Old Saturn, the earliest stage, where the foundations of physical existence were laid. Old Sun, the development of life forces and etheric qualities. Old Moon, the emergence of astral soul qualities. Earth, our current stage, developing individual self-consciousness. Future Jupiter, the transformation of thinking into imagination. Future Venus, the transformation of feeling into inspiration. Future Vulcan, the transformation of willing into intuition. Each stage represents a complete cycle of development, with humanity evolving new capacities in each epoch. This grand perspective places our current struggles and achievements within a meaningful cosmic context. Anthroposophy stages of consciousness. The 7 epochs of Earth evolution. Within our current Earth stage, Steiner's Anthroposophy describes 7 major epochs of consciousness development, each characterized by different relationships between the etheric body, astral body, and physical body. Polarian epoch, dreamlike consciousness connected to spiritual worlds. Hyperborean epoch, deepening connection to physical existence. Lemurian epoch, development of the first rudimentary self-awareness. Atlantean epoch, instinctive clairvoyance and connection to natural forces. Post-Atlantean epoch, our current epoch, developing intellectual consciousness. Future epoch, development of conscious spiritual perception. Final Earth epoch, integration of spiritual and physical existence. We're currently in the 5th Post-Atlantean epoch, which itself contains 7 cultural ages. This detailed mapping of consciousness evolution provides a framework for understanding both human history and our future potential. The Post-Atlantean cultural ages in Anthroposophy. Our current Post-Atlantean epoch contains 7 cultural ages, each developing specific aspects of consciousness and showing the difference between ancient and modern consciousness in Anthroposophy. Ancient Indian dreamlike spiritual consciousness. Ancient Persian recognition of the dual nature of existence. Egypto-Chaldean development of star wisdom and earthly sciences. Greco-Roman development of logical thinking and individual identity. Anglo-Germanic, our current age, developing intellectual freedom and scientific thinking. Russian Slavonic future development of spiritual perception within physical consciousness. American future integration of spiritual and physical consciousness. Each age builds upon the achievements of previous ages while developing new capacities. We're currently in the 5th cultural age, characterized by intellectual development, scientific thinking, and the emergence of freedom. The evolution of human faculties. Spiritual perception versus sense-based perception. Throughout these vast evolutionary cycles, specific human faculties have developed and transformed, showing the contrast between spiritual perception and sense-based perception. Consciousness from dreamlike unity with spiritual worlds to clear self-awareness. Perception from instinctive clairvoyance to sense-based observation to future conscious spiritual perception. Thinking from picture consciousness to logical thinking to future living thinking. Social organization from tribal consciousness to individual freedom to future conscious community. Each faculty evolves through a process of separation and reintegration. We temporarily lose connection with spiritual realities to develop independence, then consciously reconnect from a place of freedom. This pattern of loss and conscious reconnection is the fundamental rhythm of consciousness evolution. Our current evolutionary moment in consciousness development. According to Steiner's clairvoyant research methods, we stand at a crucial turning point in consciousness evolution between material understanding and spiritual perception. The materialistic worldview that has dominated recent centuries has served its purpose in developing clear thinking and scientific observation, but it has reached its limits. We're now beginning a gradual transition toward a new kind of consciousness that integrates spiritual perception with scientific clarity. This transition isn't automatic, but depends on human choice and development. In lectures like The Evolution of Consciousness, Steiner described how modern humans can consciously participate in this evolutionary process through specific practices and awareness. We're not passive products of evolution, but active participants in shaping its direction. The Christ impulse evolution in Anthroposophy. Central to Steiner's understanding of consciousness evolution is what he called the Christ impulse evolution, a cosmic force that transforms human consciousness. This isn't merely a religious concept, but a cosmic evolutionary force that provides the balance between spiritual and physical existence. According to Steiner, the incarnation of Christ represented a pivotal moment in Earth evolution, the point where cosmic intelligence began to unite with human consciousness. This impulse continues to work in evolution, regardless of whether one recognizes it through religious concepts. It manifests as the capacity for selfless love, moral intuition, and the ability to find spiritual meaning within material existence. In his lectures on cosmic Christianity, Steiner described how this impulse works to transform human consciousness from within. Practical implications. Waldorf education consciousness evolution. Understanding consciousness evolution through anthroposophy isn't just theoretical. It has practical implications for how we live, most notably in Waldorf education consciousness evolution. Education recognizing that children recapitulate aspects of consciousness evolution in their development. Health understanding the relationship between evolutionary forces and well-being. Social organization creating structures that support emerging consciousness capacities. Personal development consciously participating in the evolution of new capacities. Cultural creation producing art, science, and social forms that serve future evolution. Steiner's work in Waldorf education consciousness evolution, biodynamic agriculture, and social renewal all stemmed from this anthroposophical understanding of how consciousness develops through imagination, inspiration, and intuition. By aligning our activities with evolutionary currents, we can participate consciously in humanity's development. Frequently asked questions about anthroposophy and consciousness evolution. How did human consciousness evolve according to Steiner? According to Rudolf Steiner, human consciousness evolved from a dreamlike, spiritual perception in ancient times through various stages toward our current intellectual, materialistic consciousness. This evolution progresses through the development of the sentient soul, intellectual soul, and consciousness soul. Steiner described this journey through 7 great cosmic periods, 7 epochs within our current Earth period, and 7 cultural ages within our current Post-Atlantean epoch. Each stage represents a necessary development in humanity's relationship to both spiritual and physical reality. Is this just a spiritual theory, or is there evidence for consciousness evolution? While Steiner's complete picture comes from spiritual research, many aspects are supported by conventional scholarship. Historians like Owen Barfield and Jean Jepser have documented how human consciousness has fundamentally changed throughout history. Archaeological evidence shows how human perception and thinking have evolved. The key is recognizing that ancient texts and artifacts reflect not just different beliefs, but different modes of consciousness. Does this mean modern consciousness is better than ancient consciousness? Not better, but different. Each stage of evolution has its strengths and limitations. Ancient consciousness had direct spiritual perception that we've lost. Modern consciousness has analytical clarity and individual freedom that ancients lacked. The goal is not to return to earlier states, but to move forward to a consciousness that integrates the best of all previous stages. How does individual development relate to this cosmic evolution? According to Steiner, individual development recapitulates aspects of evolutionary development. Children pass through stages that mirror humanity's consciousness evolution. Additionally, through inner development practices, individuals can develop capacities that foreshadow future evolutionary stages. This creates a dynamic relationship between individual and collective evolution. Can we really know about future stages of consciousness development? Steiner claimed that through specific meditative practices and developing cosmic memory in Anthroposophy, it's possible to develop capacities that provide insight into both past and future consciousness states. While we can't fully experience future stages from our current perspective, we can recognize their emerging qualities and consciously work toward their development. Many of Steiner's predictions about consciousness changes have already been validated by subsequent cultural and scientific developments. What is the relationship between imagination, inspiration, and intuition in Steiner's work? In Anthroposophy, imagination, inspiration, and intuition represent three higher stages of cognition beyond ordinary intellectual thinking. Imagination is pictorial thinking that perceives the etheric formative forces. Inspiration perceives the astral world and spiritual beings. Intuition allows direct communion with spiritual beings. These three faculties correspond to the future evolutionary stages of consciousness that humanity will develop. Future Jupiter imagination. Future Venus inspiration. Future Vulcan intuition. The evolution of consciousness in Anthroposophy, becoming conscious co-creators. The evolution of consciousness provides a grand context for understanding both human history and our individual lives. We're not isolated beings in a meaningless universe, but participants in a vast, purposeful process of development. By understanding this process, we can more consciously participate in shaping both our personal development and humanity's future. The cosmic evolution of consciousness in spiritual science reveals that our highest human potential is to become conscious co-creators in the ongoing development of the universe through the integration of spiritual perception with scientific clarity. Learn more about Anthroposophy or explore Rudolf Steiner's teachings in our other collections. The wise voices of the past still speak, but only if we listen can their words carry on. Subscribe to help keep them alive.